Thank you. Audio check. Everyone can hear me? Awesome. Thanks everyone who's come here to Austin and also everyone who is at home, wherever you are in the world, following the live stream or the replay. We're going to have a very interesting session today. Really quickly, a little about me. I was born in Belgium in a town called Bruges, very beautiful town. I know people here ask me all the time, why did you ever leave that? It's like if like Disney World was like a real place, that's kind of what it is like. But I've been in the United States now for 19 years. 19 years I've been here. So people still ask me where my accent is from because they can't quite place it. It's not like there's a lot of Belgians to go around. And when in doubt, people just like are happy with the answer Canada, because especially in Texas, can't quite place it. But no, it's Flanders, Belgium. I've started several companies, co-founded several companies, have multiple exits by now, and I'm currently working on SmithOS, which is an open source platform that you can build agents with. And we're going to talk about agents today, but the goal for today's talk, as I was thinking about what am I going to share with you all today, is I want to give you guys something of value, a framework of reference as the world is changing to understand what is happening. And kind of as you see news headlines, you can interpret it, hopefully like in a better way than just the hype cycle. And then I was also thinking about two particular analogies, and I'll tell you the story really quickly. First, I was looking at trees recently, and I was noticing how like trees grow pretty slowly, but if you have like a time lapse, it almost looks like a living animal. If you see them like grow like in a time lapse, like accelerated, it's like, you know, maybe trees are not so different from animals after all. And I read this paper about like how they even like communicate with each other, and like if one is in distress, like they send out signals to the other. And it's like it's a different life form. It's like a different life form, and AI is kind of like that too, because it works differently than we do. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's like not intelligent or something like that. It's just different. It's not human, but there's something there. And the other thing I was thinking about is what we're living in is very special time. We're living in a super special time. If you think about it, you know, we weren't around for the Industrial Revolution or the printing press or, I don't know, people making boats that could go over the ocean for the first time. Can you imagine that? It's like Starship Enterprise, like Stardate. Those special times. But what we are living in is like history. And so there's these historians like Josephus or Eusebius or whatever who were writing down history as they were experiencing it or as they collected it. We are all eyewitnesses of history. History is happening right now. And maybe, right, we're all writing a piece of that history on our websites or social feeds and contributing to the archaeological or historical record for what is happening now. So what I thought we would start with is with trees and a historical perspective of what the heck is happening. And so it starts in the year 2020 AD because it's that recent. And this is reflecting of all of the different AI models that we've experienced in that time. And just a question to AV, if you could also help me by putting the time up on the screen, that would also help me coordinate the time. Hi, everyone. So AI, text, image, video, audio, and then what I call world, I refer to as like world models. This is like robots having awareness of their environment and being able to interact with it. In 2020, all of these areas were kind of in their infancy, like little seeds that were just beginning to sprout. But time goes on, And 2021 came around. Do you guys know what happened in November 2021? The day my startup died. ChatGPT came out, right? And so these models were like, they were pretty good at the time, but if you went back now and used them, you'd be like, God, that kind of sucks. Like, it's not like this newest model we have. So we have the benefit of hindsight now, because if I was in 2021, I would like make that tree. I don't know if the laser pointer would work. I'm not going to risk it. But this here in 2021, we would have thought of that to be much bigger, right? Because we're living in the moment, and it's like the best thing. But like looking back, it wasn't so great yet. It had to still mature. And you know, we had some progress with image and video, and then audio was pretty interesting too. Audio LM was kind of the first one that said like, hey, wait, what we're doing for text might actually work for audio. And meanwhile, people were just working on world models like Tesla Dojo, pre-training on like massive scale. Somebody here today asked me about the robot taxis in Austin. And I've been to San Francisco plenty and see the Waymos with LiDAR and everything. But, you know, Tesla used to work that way, like a rule-based decision-making. If red light, then do that. They've moved away from that entirely. They, like, kicked it and started all over. And they said, like, let's have AI figure out how this needs to work. And, you know, even though Waymo has, like, decent service right now, I still believe, like, one day in the future, they're also going to have to scratch it and start over. Because the pre-training, that's kind of the way that we saw the scale in the other areas. And 2022 comes around. Have you noticed how like, these are growing? But I'm talking for a while, so look, I'm going to go back. And because this is like our human perception of time, look at how this grows. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a garden that we're watering. But 2022, these models kept getting better. We saw in 2022 something magical happened. That text model, GPT, all of a sudden started being capable of mathematics. Who'd have thought that? And they could also follow instructions more carefully. But we also had DALL-E, the image generator. It's like blew us all away. And nowadays we think like, you remember six-finger DALL-E? Remember six fingers? That was then. Video was still like growing up. Meta was kind of like making an interesting move there. And then Whisper, transcribing audio. All those note takers you have now. I'm in many calls and like I have more note takers than I have people in calls. Right? That started with Whisper. And that was 2022. And that's just a little while ago. And we didn't have that before then. What a time to be alive. Google released the world model RT1, you know, that can start understanding the world and interact with it. Robot arms. 2023 is a big year, okay? So in elementary school or middle school, you may have had a history class. The history of humanity. Okay, and it goes something like this, okay? Caveman, discovery of fire. And next thing you got city civilizations, the wheel, printing press, all that stuff. It goes something like this, right? The history of humanity. Caveman, fire, tool use, civilization. Yes? Okay. It goes all so fast that it may skip your attention. But in 2023, AI learned how to use tools. They went from caveman all the way to printing press in like one moment. Tool use is the revolution that enables agents. Because when I can use tools and know how to interact with others, I can start making collaboration. I can start making teams. I can start making a new level of civilization. And on that note, I'll digress from my slides for a second, but I want you all to understand that you are a superorganism. You're made of millions and millions of cells that are all collaborating. You are a superorganism. A town is a superorganism of humans. A city is an even larger superorganism. And then we have airplanes and the internet, and the world is a superorganism as well. You see that? AI was just AI, a bunch of neurons, in its own a superorganism of neurons, right? Artificial neurons. Now, what does tool use enable AI to do? It allows that to become a superorganism as well. Agents are a superorganism. And when they join the digital workforce, when they start working, collaborating with each other and humanity, we don't just have a global civilization, we have a global super civilization. And this is the year, 2023, this is when that happened. And in March of 2023, I was with my co-founders at a board meeting, and I told them, agents or AI just figured out how to use tools. This is like humans learning how to use the wheel. We need to stop everything we're doing because this is the future. And that happened in 2023. But we had other stuff in 2023. I can't blame you for not being as excited about tool use. We had Mid-Journey. You know, it's way more fun to make pictures of Pikachu. And we had Runway Gen 2, which was like the first credible, like I can make video thing. Audio, 11 labs. Oh my goodness, 11 labs? I could like clone my voice and like call my parents and it's AI talking and they think it's me. Or like, that was 2023. Whew. What a year. What a year for AI. And then, of course, things continue to go. In 2024, we had reasoning. We had Sora. Anyone remember that Sora preview? The lady walking through the rain in the city. And yeah, they took another year to release it. But we were like, AI is capable of that? And meanwhile, audio keeps getting better, now becomes like real-time generation and so forth. 2025, where we are now. Can you notice how these trees are growing? Like, look back here. Look at this. This is just 5 years. Isn't that astounding? Our sense of time is warped. If we think it's like this and we see it like that, it's astounding. The baby's growing up, taking the first step, falling, getting back up, growing taller. Well, this year is the year where agentic orchestration is really coming to play. And SmithOS, the company I co-founded after this 2023 big revelation, is there. We also have visual agents, grounding, video as full scene coherence, multimodal voice agents, and RTX from Google. We have full robot simulations now. It's so cool. But world models are still lagging behind a little bit. Video models are not as strong as image models, and text models are very strong right now. But the thing is, each of these trees is growing. So this is something we need to talk about because there's a lot of news out there around AI. And you may have heard of the term AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, and there's like debates, so when is it coming, when is it coming? And then some people say, well, we're kind of already there, and other people say, well, we're about to be there, but this is how you need to see this. Each tree stands alone. Text stands by itself, image stands by itself, video stands by itself, audio stands by itself. They're not all integrated. It's not like one tree with branches. So what we do have is, and this is how I define this, how do you define intelligence and superintelligence? When it does something better than a human, I call it superintelligence. It's kind of Superman, he's stronger than a man, right? So superintelligence is when you do best. So examples of superintelligence is like a chess program that can beat the best chess player. That's super at chess, right? But like we're at a point where I think in the next few years, we may already be there, okay? It can make images better than I can. It can make text better than I can. And maybe it's not quite there yet, but we can see it kind of, the tree is growing. But they're still narrow. They still are not general. They're not general. So what is general intelligence? General intelligence is, I made that tree smaller than the human, okay? General intelligence is an integrated system where these things don't all stand by themselves like separate trees, but it's like one tree with like more branches. And the first version of this integrated system, it might be less impressive than your super intelligent narrow text model when it's doing text. And it may be less impressive than your super intelligent image model when it's doing images, and so forth. The first version, though, is going to be, again, like the tree growing. It's going to be like the sapling, but it's going to be more about computer science, to be honest. We need to come up with like an integrated architecture, and there's still some breakthroughs that are missing before we can talk about general intelligence in a single model. And this is why I personally do not think that, ChatGPT is going to have a general artificial intelligent model anytime soon. But we are already having narrow superintelligence that you can put together and make an experience around. So like GPT-4o, they call O for Omni. It's a marketing lie because they make you believe it's one model that can do all of this stuff. Instead, it's a text model that figures out what you want and shares the load with individual trees. So it's kind of an illusion of a general system, right? Who cares? At the end of the day, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, maybe it's a duck typing. There's a bunch of things that still need to be figured out, and you see that here on the bottom. Scientists are working on this. And then eventually, that general intelligence tree will also mature and grow up. And this is what we call general superintelligence. This is the abbreviated history of humanity, like what we're experiencing right now. This is what we're living through. But I want to point out something, and I don't think you guys have fully understood this, okay? When you implant electrodes in a human brain, the human brain, as a general intelligence, can learn how to control a computer. If you plug in a new modality that you've never seen before, the human brain can figure that out. If you want to give humans eyesight and you give a digital signal in your optical nerves in your brain, the brain can figure out how to decode the ones and zeros and restore a level of eyesight. There's an experiment called the second thumb or something experiment, third thumb, because I have two, so it would be the third one. I was thinking second on one hand. The third thumb experiment, where you can have a third thumb and the brain learns how to control and use the extra thumb. There's people that are born with more fingers, and the brain figures it out. The brain is magnificent. If I gave a brand new modality to an image model today, it would not know what to do with it. So you cannot call that general intelligence. Okay, that's just how I see the world. But it will also help you frame this. Now, orchestration is the 2023 tool use invention that changed the world. Why? Because we don't need a general intelligence to actually change the world. We just need to use tools. Humans use tools. Imagine a Netflix show, Alone in the Jungle. And you put a human alone and, okay, let's make it even more dramatic. Alone and naked in the jungle and no supplies. How long will you last? I don't think I'll make it through the day. Snakes. But when we have a human with tools, all of a sudden our odds of survival increase, right? Then we have more than one human. Now a team of humans. Now you have a town. Now some can hunt, some can make clothes, some can do medicine. Our odds of survival increase. tool use is that for AI agents. The utility exponentially increases. So orchestration may be all you need. And I think about ants, building colonies, bridges, unbelievable things, and yet it's just a single ant unit of intelligence, right? And so an individual AI does not need to be exceptional. It doesn't need to be artificial super intelligence that's general. It can just be a very good orchestration engine that uses tools. Tools calling to individual strong elements on the team. And that's how we build human teams too. You have a manager, you have somebody writing content, somebody editing, somebody publishing. You divide the work along specialties. So orchestration is kind of like a superpower if you think about it. So if I want an image and I tell AI I want an image, the AI model could say, I don't know how to make an image, but I know someone who can. And it can just redirect that task to the amazing image model and then return it to you. But it can also do other things. What if I want to make an image and then immediately turn it into a video? The orchestration agent can say, hey, make an image, and then when it gets back, it sends that image to the video model, which can take the image and turn that into a video. And this is what we call orchestration. And that is the revolution. So what I'm saying today is we do not need artificial general intelligence to change the world, because we figured out how to use tools, just like humans learn how to use tools. And that is the birth of agents, of course. So now you get to the real cool stuff, which is an entire team of AI agents. Not just models, but the individual agents are leveraging multiple models to do things in a very specific skill. And then another agent can manage the team of agents. And so this here represents a content team. And we have made that already reality. Because here you see a screenshot of our product, SmithOS, where we have that exact team working together. This is capable of producing more than 2,000 pieces of SEO content. And I know what I'm talking about because my previous company that we exited from was an enterprise SEO agency that grew some enterprise clients with more than 14 million visitors per month. So we know what good SEO content looks like. This team is capable of doing that. And it is with that same principle of orchestration. So what you're seeing here is that autonomy meets control. And I put the little trees next to each of the boxes because this is what we were talking about. The orchestrator does not need to be super intelligent. It does not need to be generalized intelligent. It can just figure out how to coordinate work between teams of agents and teams of AIs. And this is a workflow in SmithOS, what it looks like to have an agent. So let's just picture the future, what our life is going to look like 5 years from now. We're sitting in the sofa and we're saying, agent, right, get my car ready. Now there's a few steps that are involved with that, and they're going to be solved with orchestration. So the first thing, your agent is going to talk to your car and say, car, are you charged? Are you ready? And the car says, yep, I'm ready to go, fully charged. Then the agent is going to say, great, now that I know that you're fully charged, I want you to pull out on the driveway. Larry wants to leave. The car says, I have a problem, one moment, because it can't quite leave. There's a problem. There's a garage in the way. So the agent that is the car is now going to talk to the agent that's your garage door opener, and they're going to collaborate and say, open the door. And when it's open, it's going to say, yep, I'm ready. And then what's going to happen? The car's going to follow its instruction. The orchestrator puts everything together. And next thing, your personal agent, be it Siri or Google or whatever it is going to say, yep, mission accomplished. But what you don't know in the background is that all this beautiful orchestration happened. So what kind of agents do we have here? We have personal agents. Your personal agent, that's the one you're going to interact with a lot. And then there's everything in the background powering that agent. And that is likely going to be your company, or your SaaS, or your business. So you got brand agents, which is very important to marketers. That is going to allow your brand to communicate with the world so that your personal agent can reach out to your agent to answer a question about something you want to do, get answers or action taken in the world, and then respond back to you. Process agents are agents that are going to work inside of your business to help you do things faster. And we're not just talking about you being a keyboard monkey and say, prompt enter, but agents can work in the background. When emails come in, they can process them, they can live in Slack, they can live wherever you work. Anything you do behind a computer, you can build agents for. But agents need to be built by humans, supervised by humans, maintained by humans, and they require expertise in the field, because I'm in no position to make a good workflow or process for lawyers. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how that needs to look like. And regulations change, and laws change. And so same thing, marketing trends change, processes change. It needs humans to supervise them. Personal agents will be everywhere. And that personal agent you saw earlier that was kind of like floating in the living room, you're going to even talk to them. They're going to have a physical body that you can see through your glasses. And you're going to talk to them just like I'm having a conversation with you right now. And then do all that stuff in the background through the magic of orchestration. Brand agents can answer questions about your company. Think of your best salesperson 24/7 while you're on the beach in Cancun, right? That agent's working for you, selling for you, doing customer service for you. You just have to maintain the agent for your brand. It can also take action like renting a home, not just answering questions. It can get popular stories, news information. Why do you need brand agents for that? The example I use is this. If you go to, let's say, you want to go eat at a restaurant. Okay, now imagine the best AI model ever made. Okay, let's say Google has it. And you say, hey, Google, I want to book a table at that restaurant. How is Google supposed to know that in that particular restaurant, a couple just walked out and the table became free? It never can. It needs to talk. And the restaurant could have an agent that knows that information, right? And so the world will be an interconnected web of agents. And the paradigm shift is happening right now. You may not know it, but there was a time there was no TCP/IP or HTTPS. And before those things happened, there was no World Wide Web. You would not be here today. This conference would not be live streamed if that did not happen. Those standards made the internet that you use today. And guess what? The new standards for the new internet, the next internet, are being made today. So this slide is not science, but it's meant for you to be able to understand what's happening with analogies, okay? So don't take this as science, but brand agents are the new website. I remember a time when people said, I have yellow pages, I don't need a website. Maybe you're in the room right now saying, I don't need agents, I got a website. That's just history repeating itself. Personal agents, that's the new browser. That's why the big tech companies are investing trillions of dollars into infrastructure to win you over. Because if I get you to use my personal agent on my platform, that's the ultimate vendor lock-in. I control what you buy, what you shop, what you read, how it influence. I can do anything I want if I have the big gateway. That's the big companies, okay? Browser wars, Netscape, Internet Explorer, those were small fries. We're in for the big event now. Internet of Agents will replace the Web 2.0 that we're talking about, and the protocols. Model Context Protocol, Agent Gateway Protocol, Agent-to-Agent Protocol. We are working with standard companies at SmithOS right now, shaping the future protocols of the web. What an exciting time to be alive. And all of you in this room including everyone watching, will end up using these protocols 10 years from now. Your children, grandchildren will be using these protocols that they will take for granted. And what a time it is to be alive right now. These things are happening as we speak. So that leads to the open internet of agents. This is going to be a $1 trillion economy. Imagine billions of agents interacting with billions of agents and paying each other with microtransactions. Trillions of microtransactions happening. We are going to see this happening across the entire web, meaning your business will talk to your business, to your agent, and even the influencers and speakers in this room, people can hire your agent. This will be massive. So how do you make an agent? I just put this together here. Yeah, this should start playing. This is SmithOS. How do you make an agent? I want to show you how easy it is. Here we're asking it to make an agent that does keyword research, and we're giving it some instructions around how it needs to group and output to output, group by intent, like informational, commercial, navigational. And what you see here is Agent Weaver, which is an agent that builds agents. So you don't need to be a developer anymore to make agents. And it is thinking about it, and it's going to ask for some clarifying questions. And then the canvas on the right side, you can see kind of that's the agent. Right now it's an untitled agent, but very soon it's going to get a name. And just watch how the Agent Weaver is thinking about this. Now, we need to answer some questions. Like what APIs do we want to use for Google Autocomplete, because it wants to use that data. People also asked, I mean, who here is familiar with SEO? A little bit, yeah? Several hands go up, right? So this is relevant for this conference. So we say use any free API endpoint, I'm sorry about the slow typing. So use free APIs, I don't want to pay for anything. So very soon that is not going to be use APIs, it's going to be use other agents. That's where we're going. So like if you have an Ahrefs subscription or something, you're going to use their agent more than you use their UI, because your agent is going to use their agent to answer your questions. And all that clicking around user interfaces, that's going to be a thing of the past. Okay, so we finally just answered the questions. So now it prepares an agent action plan, how to build that agent. And so what you're seeing in the background is what you call orchestration. It's thinking through the steps. It's making a plan of this is what needs to happen. And then it calls on different AI models to go and put everything together. And here you see that happening. And it says, okay, this is what I will be building. And here it gets into action. It's going to finally knows how to do it. And so it decided how to do it. And now it starts building the components. And this is hands-free. And we'll zoom in a minute. You can see the steps here that it is coming up with. And when all the steps are done, it's going to make all the connections, kind of like wiring the brain. And then it's just going to do a final check. And then we can actually also test it. Let's give this a minute to complete. So it is updating the canvas right now. Who here has built agents so far? Has anyone built an agent? We have one. Okay, maybe the photographer. You have built agents? What agents have you built? Copilot? Okay, great. Yeah. So one simple way to build agents is to say what you want, give it data, and give it a number of APIs or skills, and let the AI figure out how it wants to use it. And this is what we call autonomy. And the contrast of autonomy is control. And the best agents have a good blend of autonomy and control. So here the agent is finished creating, and it is just cleaning it up. Here, you see it. It's nicely clean, and the agent is ready. This was not sped up. So if this took like 3 minutes or so, that's what it would take to make an agent like this. And now you can like chat with it as well. So we can deploy it, we can test it, and I think that we're going to have a a little demonstration here too. We're going to give it a seed keyword, and that is cat gadget, and run it. And you can see what's happening in the background. You can kind of ignore that too, but you see the components kind of all working together. That is what an agent looks like in the background. This is not science fiction. This is not something in the future. Technically speaking, this is possible since 2023, but the world was lacking the tooling for this to make it easy to do. Kind of like it was hard to make an e-commerce site before Shopify, or it was hard to make a blog before WordPress. Anyone remember those times? And yet everybody needs a website, right? And so the same thing is true for agents. Everybody needs agents, but there was a time, and that time was not long ago, where it was really hard to do agents. And so here you can see that. I think for time's sake, I need to accelerate, but what I want to invite you all, sometime today, go to smithos.com, and on the home page, there's a box, and say, what do you want to build? Type something in, and just see it working for you. And then you can walk away from this conference saying, hey, you know what, manager or colleague, I made an AI agent, right? That's a win story. All right, so I'm going to wrap up here. I'll be in the audience today. You can approach us. You can ask questions. Feel free to ask more about it. I would love for you guys to follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter. My handle is there. Okay, so quick story about that. I have so many connection requests. I have a backlog of like 600 people who want to be connected with me, and I don't have time to follow up on them. But when I go to conferences like this, just for one day, I turn off my filter, I put my blindfolds on, and I just click accept, 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 accept to everyone who connects with me today. Okay? So if you send a connection request tomorrow or next week, I can't promise you, but today is the time. So go and connect with me today, because I will press accept. The handle is AD Ritter. And what's the story of the llama and the cat, you may wonder? So SmithOS, well, we thought of an agent platform, and the coolest agent I know is Agent Smith from The Matrix. And I'm like, I can't infringe on copyright or anything, but maybe a white cat instead of a black cat, and let's give him cool agent sunglasses. And then he's riding a llama, which is like representing like AI models. So the slogan is, ride the llama, skip the drama. And that is what I hope you all can try out with AI agents. Try it yourself. My name is Alexander de Ritter. It was a pleasure to speak with you today, all. I look forward to having wonderful panelists after lunch, and enjoy this conference. I'll give it back to our wonderful MC. Thank you all.